What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for listening. I wanted to put this in the top of the show. Make sure you subscribe on Patreon, patreon.com/Brennan Tassif. Check out the merch store at brennantcomedy.com to get your ex-drinking buddy merch. Subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts. As always, we're coming to you live from Gotham Production Studios, and I hope you enjoy the episode.
Grab me a beer and grab me a coke. We bout to sit for an hour, bullshit and tell jokes. And please don't mix it up, cause he done sobered up. Brennan T Comedy on your social media feeds. And Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Brennan Tassif is your ex-drinking buddy. I'm your host, Brennan Tassif. If you're new to the program, quick rundown of the show. I used to be everyone's favorite drinking buddy. It was my favorite thing to do, hang out with friends, get drunk, do drugs, get in all sorts of trouble, and then reminisce about those crazy stories. I am sober now, but it's still one of my favorite things to do. Hang out with someone and reminisce about the crazy old days. Most weeks I'll be joined by a guest. This week is no exception. All the way from New York City, Quan Wiggins. What's up, dude?
What's good, brother? What's good, man?
Not much, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing real good, man. Sobering up from last night.
Yeah, you're recovering, you said.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I went a little Busta Rhymes with the Cavassier, man.
I know, bro. I know. My roommate was laughing at me.
Now, we were talking about this, but before we get too far into anything, plug everything up front. Social media, any dates you have coming up, website, anything like that. Let everyone know where they can find you.
I'm on Instagram at Quan Wiggins, TikTok, Joke Telling Quan, YouTube, Quan Wiggins, and this Sunday, I'll be at Comedy in Harlem at 7 p.m., and I'm there consistently. So
Comedy in Harlem?
Yes, Comedy in Harlem.
Perfect. So tell everybody, because you came in and you were like, I'm hurting a little bit. Because last night you were like, oh, we were drinking Maker's Mark. And I was like, oh, that's definitely up there, respectable whiskey. And then you go, and Cavassier. And I looked at you and I go, I only know that from that song. Yeah, that's the only reason I drink it, too.
I think everybody knows it from the song. I don't think anybody's ever been on a Friday night like, yo, let's get some Cavassier. Like, I don't think that's anybody's go-to. Like, I don't know, maybe in France or,
maybe,
but outside of the song, nah. But it was just a bottle I had left over, though. So.
And you had it left over from your pandemic stash.
Pandemic, yeah.
So tell everybody, we'll get into the comedy thing and moving and being in New York and everything like that. But this was so fascinating when you brought this up to me because I was sober during the pandemic. I had a lot of friends relapse, go back out. But I think, to whoever, good Lord above, whatever you want to say, I was able to stay sober through it. You had a genius idea. You were saying that you were really into coffee and then you got really into like collecting and trying different whiskeys during the pandemic. So take everybody through like how that even happened.
Yeah, well, so before the pandemic, I was working at like a coffee warehouse.
Okay.
So the place where they get the coffee beans in green, you roast them there, and then you sell them to different coffee shops or businesses or whatever, right?
Okay.
And so I would just take like different bags of coffee home every week, just trying different flavors. And like, man, like, dude, like it's so much coffee that comes from Africa, and then you go to like the different countries, and it's literally like a different flavor in the bean.
And you can taste the difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which was weird because before I worked there, coffee just tastes like coffee to me.
That's how I am. Yeah.
But then when you get some good coffee, if you're getting like $3 coffee, it's going to taste the same.
Yeah.
But if you get some good coffee, you actually can
Ethiopia is a big coffee place.
Ethiopia, yeah, that's one of the origin places. They say it's between Ethiopia and Yemen where coffee originated.
Okay.
And then they took it from there to
look at you knowing all this about coffee.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, man. That shit was good. So then during the pandemic, I was just like, I don't know, I was just home and I was like, I guess I'll just start trying liquor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I would get like different whiskeys, my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go to the store and I would get different whiskeys, obviously the Jacks, the Maker's Mark. I got like this, I think it's a bourbon, I can't remember, but it was like a top shelf.
Okay.
This was with the the Biden Bucks, I think.
Yeah.
And it was called like 1792.
Okay, I know that one. Yeah.
Smooth.
Yeah.
Smooth. So what I would do is I would like take the whiskey, put it in the coffee. Like I would get like a Kenyan coffee or a Burundi coffee.
You're a regular
like that,
old
right?
mixologist over here.
Yeah, and then you hit it with like some raw honey. And then I stay up all night playing Assassin's Creed. Like, it was the best. I'm not gonna lie, that was a great few months when that was going on.
It is interesting because, obviously pandemic, it was a terrible time for a lot of people. People died, everything we're supposed to say because the mics are hot. Yeah. So blah, blah, blah. But in my case, I was just like hanging out, catching up on like the West Wing, and there was a gym near my house because I was in Florida. So we only had the pandemic for 3 months, but there was a gym near my house where the guy was like, I dumped all my money into this. This is my life savings. Like, I'm not closing my gym. So he just blacked out all the windows. So when the cops would roll by, it looked like it was closed, even though the parking lot was full.
In Florida?
Yeah.
I thought Florida never closed.
The first 3 months we were closed from March, April, May, June. Okay. So like the end of March, so April, May, June, we were completely shut down, and then we reopened in July. But he blacked out all the way. So every day I would just like stay up super late watching like Netflix and catching up on all this stuff. And then I'd wake up and go and hang out, like not even like work out for like, but just hang out at this gym for hours and then go home and just watch TV. And I was like, this is the fucking life.
Yes.
Like this is awesome. And I remember thinking at one point, like a huge part of me wanted to fall off the wagon because I was like, if I could do this and then get drunk at night, that would be fucking awesome.
I know. It's
awesome.
I know. That was like the first time in a while that I feel like as a nation, we got to be humans.
Yeah.
Because, as Americans, it's work, work, work. I need money. I got to do this career, blah, blah, blah. And then for that was that moment where we just,
Everyone
could chill,
stop,
you could work out. We were trying to be healthy eaters.
Yep.
We were meditating. You start going to therapy, like all these different things because of that little pause that we got. So that was... Again, it's like a beautiful, ugly thing because, of course, people lost their lives, but then other people got to...
Found them.
Yeah, explore life. Yeah, so many people didn't go back to their jobs after the pandemic and found different careers and different online businesses or whatever. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of people I talk to where because of the loans and stuff like that through the pandemic, they were able to chase a dream or start a business or something, which is a beautiful thing. I mean, it's sad that in order for someone to be like, oh, I'm really passionate about this and I'm actually pretty good at it, I want to do this, it took... the shutting down of the entire country.
Yeah.
Like I wish there were certain things where you could do that just on a regular basis where it's like, oh, you really love this and you're actually pretty good at it. Well, why don't we give you like even if it's just like a loan that you can defer for a while, which I guess is kind of like what student loans do for college kids, but even that's a scam. Like, I wish you could go and be like, hey, I'm actually pretty good at comedy and I'm super passionate about it and I'll work harder at this than anything in my life. Can you float me like a few $1,000s or cover my rent for a few months and then I'll pay back that loan? They do it for college and then most people don't end up not even doing what they went to school for.
Exactly.
I have 2 degrees and I don't use either of them.
Exactly.
So I wish they could do like a student loan program, but for art. I think that'd be pretty sick. Where people could just be like, yeah, I'm a comic and the government pays me to do comedy.
That I think they do that in some European countries.
They do. It's real big in Europe. My brother lives in Spain. It's real big in Spain where you get like, you have to live in like government housing. So it's not nice, but at the same time, the only thing you have to figure out how to pay for is your booze and your food.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're an artist, you don't care.
Yeah.
You just want to get to focus on your art.
Yeah,
so
I'm 35 and I don't give a shit.
I know it sucks. It sucks how we'll beat up our lives and it's like, yo, I just got to do the art. I
live with 2 random, I love my roommates, but I don't know them.
Yeah.
Like I moved in because I moved here with my girlfriend and then when we broke up, I was like, I have to get out of this apartment. So I ended up finding a place that was way too nice for me. But for some reason, I was able to get into the apartment because my little room in this apartment's not that expensive and the building's super nice. And I was like, okay, this is just my life. People are like, oh, why didn't you move out to like so-and-so or like move back home or do this or do it's because it's like I need to be here for comedy. I'm not going anywhere.
Bro, I hate the move home thing.
My dad called me when he saw that me and my ex broke up. He called me. His first question was, are you sober? And his second question was, when are you coming home? I was like...
Bro,
Bro, I'm not going nowhere.
Why do they think home is an option?
It's not.
That's what they don't get. Like when people say, no, their shows here, I'm like, what am I going to do? A show like once every other week? You know what I mean? When I'm doing like 3 or 4 shows a night, like what am I going to trade this off for? And then this is just the highest form of comedy that you can do. And at this point, we're classical comedians.
Yeah.
Because everything is, a lot of new people coming up. They're the digital version.
Yeah.
But we're the classical form where you go and you do comedy night after night for 10 years until you learn how to do it. And now you're decent. And now a club.
I love it
Yes.
when people go, oh, maybe you should try it this way. And he goes, it took me 12 years to find my voice. You can go and fuck off. I'm not
100%.
trying it your way. I'm not adding this. I'm not taking that out. This is the fucking bit, man. Like, this is the bit. I've had, since moving to, because I'm long form, I'm a storyteller. And so since moving to New York, I've had so many people be like, oh no, you have to be bang, 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 bang. And it was really disheartening when I first started. And then I talked to a buddy of mine who opens for a huge comic. And this huge comic is also a story. And he was like, dude, I just played an arena, like with so-and-so, like, and all he does is tell stories. Like, you're going to be fine. And I was like, yeah, these people can fuck off. Like, everyone has a different style. And it takes us so long to find it. And it's like, why would you try and move home? No. Where are you originally from?
Absolutely no. I'm originally from Bertie County, North Carolina.
Okay.
But then I moved to like Durham, North Carolina, where I lived for like 14 years.
Raise up.
I came here. Yeah. So again,
you're the third comic I've had on from the Carolinas in like the last 2 months.
Yeah, I know Derek Thompson.
Derek, yeah. I just keep quoting P.D. Pablo to him. He was getting so mad.
Yeah, nobody...
Take his shirt off!
I hate to say it, but nobody in North Carolina liked P.D. Pablo.
Really? That's breaking news.
Not as the state rapper. Nobody, whenever we're talking about rap, people go P.D. Pablo. Why don't you say J. Cole?
Oh, because P.D. Pablo has the song.
Why don't you say Rhapsody? Nobody cares about that song, man. Like... I remember P.D. Pablo, he did like magazines, he would claim New York roots, and I actually saw him one time. They used to do this thing called Apple Chill, where it was like this food festival, and then at nighttime would be like a car show on the strip on Franklin Street in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And I'm like in high school at the time, and we see this dude in this like yellow Hummer, and he's playing the song. We was like, yo, that ugly ass dude look like P.D. Pablo. And then we was like, oh shit, that is P.D. Pablo.
He was playing his own song?
He was playing his own song. That's how you know how people feel about you.
Imagine if you pulled up somewhere and you're just blaring your comedy album.
Right.
I'm listening to my own podcast as I pull up somewhere.
And people are like, yo, what's wrong with this dude, bro? Like, yo, what's your man, bro? Like, yeah, he was playing his own song, and people noticed him or whatever at that point. But it was like,
I don't know why I think it's just because it's such a hype song, and I was in high school, so obviously playing football at the time. So it's one of those songs where it's like you listen to it in the locker room, kind of a hype song. So it was just burned in my memory. And so when Derek came on and started talking about North Carolina, I was like, P.D. Pablo. And I want to say he had a similar reaction where he's like, oh yeah, man. And I was just like, no, come on, like
no.
And he was like, yeah, okay.
I mean, don't get it wrong. When P.D. had his moment,
Freak a Leak,
it was cool. No, he had hits. I won't take that away from him. But when you want to talk about the rapper that represents North Carolina,
he's no Lil Wayne.
It's not P.D. No.
So
J. Cole.
I'm actually gonna put that in the show notes.
J. Cole.
So you were in North Carolina until how old? Because you said 14 years. So were you 15, 16?
I left at like 24.
Okay. Okay, so you lived 10 years and then moved there for 14.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when did you discover stand up, like comedy, like doing?
It was in college.
Okay.
You know, I started college on the bench on a football team.
Where'd you go?
Winston-Salem State.
Okay.
I was on the bench, didn't get the scholarship, blah, blah, blah. So I transferred to North Carolina Central.
Division 2?
Yeah, at that time at least. They're Division 1 AA now.
Yeah, I remember. I got recruited by them.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I played at Florida Atlantic University.
Oh, nice.
Scout team All-Americans, what I tell people.
Hey, man, you know what? I probably could have been that too, but you know my issue, bro? I had a 1.5 GPA in high school.
Damn.
Trying to get a college scholarship.
You can't.
I know. I was so stupid. And then,
NCAA won't allow it.
You remember when they were seeing the recruitment cards?
Yeah.
You had to fill them out?
Yeah.
And I'd be, Coach, should I lie? They'd be like, don't lie. And I would have to put 1.5
and they're like,
and mail it off.
No way.
Yeah, bro, in retrospect, that was the dumbest thing I could have ever done in my life. That was the dumbest thing. So, of course, my college stuff got fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who would take a chance on this kid? Who the fuck would? So, that didn't work out. So, I went to the next school, became a party promoter. I just needed. So,
wait, did you transfer to the next school to play? Or were you just out?
Well, what happened was.
Yeah, tell that story.
So, I was on the bench.
Yeah.
I was depressed. I didn't do any homework. You know what I mean?
You had a 1.5 going in.
Yeah, right.
They knew you weren't doing homework.
Right. Well, yeah, that's the truth. But so I had the 1.5 when I was there. That was the weird. Yeah, I had the 1.5 going into it. And then there, I mean, obviously the classes I went to, I would do good in.
Yeah.
But then I didn't pass enough to qualify for financial aid the following year. And so I was going to go to Central for summer school to get the credits I needed to go back. And when I did what I was told to do, they said, yo, you're 1 credit short, so you can't get financial aid. And
Fuck you.
So all right. So I went to Central, was like, can I go here? They was like, yeah, you can transfer in, and we just can't get all your credits. But I was like, all right, that's fine.
You were like, perfect, actually.
Yeah, I was like,
I'd
whatever.
rather you not have all those credits because
Yeah, fuck this,
I might
bro.
be missing a few of them.
Nah, that's a fact. I wasn't mad at that at all.
Yeah.
So and then Central was in my hometown. So I wasn't, that seemed like a good deal anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Were you staying at home while you were going to school?
No. I'll skip over that story. But I got my own place.
Okay.
During that time. And so like I said, I became a party promoter. And then
How old are you at this point? Because you've got to be like a sophomore, right?
now I'm like, I was 19, and then that spring semester, so I turned 20.
Okay.
And I started promoting parties at 20 or whatever.
So these are at clubs and stuff?
At the clubs.
Tell everybody listening if they don't know like what the job is. Because I've had people come on, like I've had women come on and talk about like knowing party promoters, and they would try to get them to come to clubs and stuff like that. But as a party promoter, like what your main job is to just get people to the club, right?
Essentially give people a reason to go to the club.
Okay.
Weekend after weekend. So you pass out flyers, you go talk to people. It's mostly a game of like flirting with girls.
Yeah.
And then telling dudes it's going to be a bunch of girls, you might want to come.
Yeah. The whole chicken or the egg.
So that's really the whole job. You know what I mean? So we would do clubs in like Chapel Hill, Durham, and we were in college. So our main crowd would be people in college, and we get a couple folks from the city or whatever.
Would you be able to, as a promoter, this is always fascinating me, would you be able to work a deal out with the club? Like, hey, can I give X number of drinks away, or can I do like a special like wristband for certain people? Like, how would you be able to like differentiate yourself from other parties and clubs and stuff? Were you able to do that, or was it just all on good faith? Like, hey, come to the thing.
Part of it is it's a small town, so it's but so many clubs
That's true.
anyway.
Yeah.
And most of the clubs are going to be empty that don't have promoters attached to them on a particular night.
Got it.
And the trick of it at home was most people didn't know how to really promote.
Mm-hmm.
So what would happen is it's easy for a guy on campus to get some flyers and pass them out, right? Just tell your friends. But then the summer would come. And if you didn't know how to actually market, then you would die.
Because no one's there.
The college kids are going, right. Man, that's the whole story there. So we were promoting parties.
Were you good in the summer?
Yes, but I admit we were taught how to be good though.
Okay.
So I originally had this one spot. It was called the Varsity Ale House, and there was a cool spot called Visions Nightclub in Chapel Hill.
Mm-hmm.
That was a hot spot, right? And so the promoters there was like, yo, man, you need to leave over here and come over here. Come over here. And I was like, yeah, you're right, man. I'm tired of the ale house. And when I went over there, I realized, I said, oh, shit, they absorbed the competition.
Yeah.
So they got me, right? So they weren't even giving me like a fair door deal. They were like trying to like
They're just taking you out of play.
They just took me out of play, and they were trying to pay me like street team level or whatever, right?
Which is not good.
So what would happen is, and then they would offer like, some percent, and then every night they'd be like, oh man, club took a loss, right? And they would lie to me about the numbers.
Yeah.
And so what would happen is they would take us in the back room, and then this one guy named Nick, and I can admit that Nick used to fuck us, but he used to teach us, right?
Yeah.
And he would come in the room like, yo, what are y'all doing, man?
Sounds like every low-level club booker.
But he gave us really valuable information, which is the weird part about it, bro. Because I don't know if low-level club bookers give you actual information.
They give you information, but it's not good information.
You can use, you know? And but so he essentially would take us in the room and like give us these speeches. He wouldn't give us money, but he'd give us these speeches, and then we'd be like, all right, he said do this. Then over time, it was like, oh shit, we actually now
it's working.
Marketing.
Oh shit.
Yeah. And then we eventually broke off from them. Mm-hmm. And obviously there's a little tension and then whatever, but we were able to do our own thing because they essentially
taught you.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. They taught us how to do the whole
How
game.
long did you do club promoting?
I personally only did it for like a year and a half.
Okay. And then from there, did you get into doing stand-up?
From there, I did college theater.
Okay. I didn't see that coming. What did you go to school for originally, like when you transferred in?
English and mass communications.
Okay.
So I would actually hang out in the theater department all the time or whatever. I did like a couple. One was a musical, Serafina, which is based on like a South African town where the military like killed all the students or whatever. And that was a musical, and I did that. I got to play like the narrator, which was one of the leads.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Pull that Morgan Freeman on him?
Well, sort of the African Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great experience, man.
That's awesome.
That was really a really fun experience. And then after that, man, I'm just floating around campus because, I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I remember one year I had on my to-do list trying to stand-up comedy.
Are you going to class and stuff at this point? Like when you're kind of floating around?
When I became a party promoter, I stopped going to class.
That's okay.
Before the parties, I was doing great. The teachers were like...
So when you transferred in, you were doing really well.
I was doing great.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
All the professors were like, hey, we want you to think about going to grad school. You're a really smart student. And I knew I remember taking U.S. history. I would be in class sleep. So the professor would call on me, and I knew all the answers because I knew all that.
Yeah.
Honestly, my 11th grade U.S. history class in high school was so good that I knew all the answers already.
Damn.
So yeah, I was a great student, and then I started throwing parties. And
and
that
then
was
it was
all
out.
I gave a fuck about. So yeah.
So then you get into theater, and then from there, you said you had on a list, try stand-up comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So how old are you at this point? How is this
I was
years
23.
after?
I was
Okay, so this is a
23.
few years after.
Yeah. I was 23.
And then
Yeah.
what happened? Did you go to a club in North Carolina? Did you
I
just
went to this open mic at Papa Mojo's.
Okay, tell us about it.
One of my college professors actually had an open mic where
What?
Yeah. It would be like, it was a music open mic.
Okay.
Where he had a live band.
Yeah, that makes
And
more
sometimes
sense.
comedians would come or whatever. I went there the first night and then I left.
Are you freaking out?
I left. the
Okay,
first
you
night.
left, yeah.
And I came back the next night drunk as shit.
Yeah.
I was drunk as shit. And I came back that night with the worst jokes.
They're terrible.
The worst jokes.
Can I be honest with you? I was drunk as shit at my first mic too.
Yeah,
And it was terrible.
but you got to. I don't know, because then you don't care. You just...
When you're scared, I mean, I say this all the time. Shout out to Cisco Dern, still out there doing comedy. He was just on HBO not too long ago. He hosted the first open mic I ever did in 2009 in South Florida. And I remember I was so scared, and he was like, well, you're 20. I was 22. And he's like, you want to get a drink or something? And I remember getting one drink and like doing nothing. And I was like, well, I need to keep drinking. And I remember I was so scared that I still had, I was like 10 drinks in and my nerves were still like shot. You know what I mean? Like I was still so scared. And then I went up and it just bombed so bad. I think I got 2 laughs. And when I got off, Cisco was like, hey man, it was your first time. You actually kind of knew what you were doing up there. Like as far as stage presence, he goes, that wasn't terrible. And I was like, I'm in, man.
Right.
Like, let's fucking go.
Right.
So for you, when you get up there, you said it didn't go great. Were you getting laughs? Was it fun?
No, there were some laughs.
Yeah.
And again, I was so drunk that if it wasn't, I don't
You
think
didn't
I
give a
would
shit.
have knew.
Yeah. You're like, they loved me.
Right. But I did well enough that the host came to me and said, hey, good job. Come back like next week. Or
Yeah.
something like that. So, and of course, the next week, I told all my friends to come out. And I got no laughs.
Oh, shit.
I got no laughs. I told all my friends to come. And my friends are just looking at me and looking at the audience. And my buddy Kyle's in the front row going, like trying to laugh, trying to help me. But
Kyle,
it was
you son of a
nothing,
gun.
bro. It did not work. He was trying his best to help, but it was not working, man.
So then were you hooked after the first time or did it take a little?
Yeah, because what would happen is I think there's another spot I would go to called Time Out. And I would do well there. And then I also would do like the campus shows, like the homecoming shows or whatever. So I would just go around. I remember doing the homecoming, and what would happen is a lot of people would let me come to their dorm rooms and like practice my jokes or whatever.
Okay,
or I
that's
practice
actually cool.
jokes. And yeah. I mean, the university was very supportive, and I did the homecoming show. It was Lil Duval, Sean Larkin.
I'm from Jacksonville, so I love Lil Duval.
And Tony Roberts.
Okay.
Right? I'm like, man, this is my
Tony
chance.
Roberts gets a lot of play.
Oh yeah, he's the man.
Yeah.
He's the man. He's the man.
I've had guests on. They love him.
Yeah, everybody loves him. Because I mean, he's so hilarious. You're just like, yo, come on, bro. His combinations are like so good.
Yeah.
So this show's happening. You know, you grow
And it's at the university for homecoming?
it's at the college, right?
Okay.
And so this show's happening. You hear all the stories about people meeting somebody famous. They take him on the road.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yo, this is
Dude,
my shot.
That's why I moved to New York.
This is it. They're gonna take me on the road.
They're going to see how funny you are.
So I do the show, and people was like, yo, I came in the green room, and Lil Duval was like, yo, man, you did real good, man. Good stuff. He was like, yeah, Tony was saying that guy's funny. And I was like, really? I was like, okay, hey, can we like network? Can I get your number?
What did Lil Duval say?
He was like, yeah, we'll do all that after the show. Yeah.
I know what that means.
Right. And so I walk up to Tony Roberts then. Did I say Tony Woods or Roberts before?
Roberts.
Okay, Tony Roberts. And I went up to Tony Roberts, right? And I said, hey, man, they said I did good. You go compliment me? He's like, yeah, man, real funny stuff. I was like, well, can I get your contact? He's like, yeah, add me on Facebook. And I was like, word. But at that time, I didn't know that comedians networked on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I thought he was like,
You thought he was giving you the little push off.
Yeah, but I didn't know at that time. So I was like, dang, that was like a direct.
Did you add him?
No, because I thought he was trying to play me. This was years later where I learned the networking thing. Yeah. I know, right?
I do almost all, well, because we met, we communicate on Instagram. I do almost all of my booking and everything through social media, almost exclusively. Unless it's like a really big comic that doesn't respond to DMs because they just have it turned off or something.
Right.
I've had a few of those on where I meet them physically in person and then they give me their phone number. But in 2023, that's not a common thing. Like normally everyone just DMs each other.
Right.
So you're like, all right, man, and then just didn't do it.
Yep.
God, did you get Lil Duval's number after the show? No.
That was kind of obvious that wasn't going to happen.
I know, but as someone who's from Jacksonville, I love Lil Duval.
But
that's where he's from.
I did get Sean Larkin's number.
Okay.
But I think it was on a different trip when I went to Atlanta.
So
that's what, I had met Sean Larkins a few months before when I went to Atlanta.
So you were going to Atlanta in between like stuff with school? You were going up to Atlanta to do comedy?
Yeah. This was like within an 8-month span.
Okay. So you really hit the ground running after that first mic.
Yeah. I tried my best to.
Yeah.
I did, man, with college shows. I threatened to shoot a guy at a show.
Did you
college.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, I got a scar on my forehead because I got into a fight and cut my own face open to prove a point. You're talking to the right guy about it.
I did this show at UNC, University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill.
Come on, raise up. I'm going to keep doing that to you.
This guy. And so I'm doing the show, and it was like hosted by these two like fraternity dudes or whatever, right? And I'm on the show. They bring up somebody, and I'm not even next. They're two guys are hosting with the mic at the same time, and they're like, yo, there's this dude up here named Quan. I used to go by Quan Acapella back then.
Quan Acapella.
Yeah, long story. But it's like, yo, it's a dude named Quan Acapella about to come on. Yo, he mad, dark skin. I can't remember exactly. He was making some dark skin jokes, and they was like, yo, he looked like young Dro.
Okay.
So I'm in the seat steaming.
Are these black guys or white guys?
These are black dudes.
Okay.
So I'm like,
I was gonna say it'd be
yeah. If it was white, that'd be pure racism.
But yeah, that's what I was like.
yeah. That'd be a whole. It would have been a riot. That would have been a different thing.
You did say North Carolina.
Yeah. So I'm steaming, right?
Yeah.
So I come on stage, right, and I just grabbed the mic and I said, "Yo, I'm from Durham, North Carolina." And I think I said, yo, everybody make some noise. I'm from Durham, North Carolina. And I want to say to those two dudes who was talking shit. Oh, that's what I said. To the two dudes that was talking shit, I'm from Durham. I will shoot you. I will motherfucking shoot you.
How did that go?
The crowd was like, whoa.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? And then I started doing my jokes.
Yeah.
And I'm in the middle of a setup, right? They laughed at whatever the first joke I did. And I'm in the middle of a setup for another joke. And I'm setting it up. And they try to fake laugh. And I was like, I told you I'll shoot your ass. The crowd's like, oh! Damn. And of course he approached me after the show. This dude approached, yeah, what's up, Quan? Where your gun at now?
Oh, he was trying to be hard?
Yeah, and he goes to UNC.
It's a comedy show.
It's a comedy show, and you are a UNC student.
Which means somebody's got money somewhere.
Yes, you're going to have a great life when you get this degree. Stop trying to fight me, bro.
It's so funny you say that because it's weird how tough people will act. And because I've been arrested 8 times, I've been in way too many fights. I've gone to jail for, a few months here, a few months there. So like I've been in situations where it's real life, where it's not like you talk shit and then I talk shit and then everyone walks away. I'm from Florida. Most people have guns. Yeah. So like my ex-fiance, I remember sometimes like we'd be in the car and she would like honk and flick someone off because she's from the Northeast where guns aren't as prevalent. And I'm like, what are you doing? These people will just execute us. Like, stop doing that. And so it's so funny to me, whether it's at shows, because I have comics that I don't know that well who will like go up after me and like talk shit. And I'm like, we're not friends like that. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll fucking fight you right now. Like, this is real life. But it's so funny you say that this guy who I can just see, he's probably not a nerd, but in my head I see him as a nerd. He's a frat guy at UNC. Like, fuck off. And then he's coming up to you like, where's your gun at? You should have kicked him in the dick,
Yeah,
man.
because it's like, obviously that was a joke. That was something I did for the stage, obviously. Like, why am I going to be walking around UNC's campus? And that's the thing.
And it's comedy. This is
What if I did have a gun?
Also, yes. Also, yes. Like, and that's the thing, too, in comedy, because it's not like music where your rep is tied to what you're doing. Like, comedy, it's understood, like, we're making jokes. Like, we're fucking around. Like, obviously, I don't have a gun.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be in this auditorium if I had a gun.
Yeah, like, we're both college students.
I'm not throwing my life away.
Yeah, like, come on, man. Like, so yeah. But yeah.
So when did you said you were going back and forth to Atlanta at this time. When did you decide to move to New York? When did that happen?
So I think I did like it was 2 years or so in my hometown, and I did the homecoming. And to me, that was the biggest stage.
That's huge.
To me, at least, I'm a student, so that's the world. So I thought.
How many kids go to Central?
When I was there, I think it was about 8,000 to 10,000.
So it's just probably a bunch of people at the homecoming.
Yeah, homecoming was big. Homecoming was a big deal. Yeah. Especially the first time I did it. The second time it was a smaller crowd, but nonetheless, in my mind, you can't top homecoming.
Yeah,
this is the biggest stage on earth,
and everyone's looking at you.
Yeah, that's the way. I remember I saw a veteran guy, and I was like, yeah, I'm doing Central's homecoming this year. He was like, all right. I was like, yeah, I'm doing Central's homecoming this year. He was like, okay. And I'm like, I don't think you're hearing me, bro.
Yeah.
I'm doing Central's homecoming.
This is a big deal.
Yeah, but to a real comic, he's like, yeah, kid, like,
cool.
And
the school you go to asked you to do 5 minutes. Awesome.
No, and that had me so confused starting out, especially doing like some of the adult shows. I was like, my jokes worked at school. I just did an auditorium. I don't get it. I just did an auditorium. Why are they not working now? But I didn't realize, like, hey, you were talking to your peers.
Yeah.
You're talking to your friends, people who know you.
I say it all the time. I crush when I do AA fundraisers and stuff. I murder, like destroy. And then when I get on a stage at like a club and I talk about faking paralyzed because I don't think my people are taking my alcoholism seriously enough, it's crickets. And I'm like, no, that's funny. Like I faked paralyzed because I didn't think people were taking me serious as an alcoholic. And it's just silence. And I'm like, this kills in the AA room because that's filled with a bunch of people who have faked paralyzed to get something.
Yeah.
So same thing. Like, you have all these college experiences and you're talking about it on stage and it's crushing. And then you go to a show.
I know.
With a bunch of grown-ass people in their 40s. And they're like, what the fuck's this guy talking about?
Yeah, and it was so confusing to me because I just wanted to be goofy and they would be talking about real life stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is that funny? Like, I did not get it, bro. I remember when I got roasted by the host at this spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm a college kid, right?
Yeah.
And in college, I used to wear everything polo.
Okay.
Every polo shirts, polo pants.
Love polo.
I even wear polo shoes.
I've got the white polos at the house.
I had orange
polo
shoes
okay.
and an orange polo shirt. And
Gotta
I
match.
came off stage.
White bottoms?
Yeah, white bottoms.
Yeah.
I don't remember everything she said, but I remember she ended. She's like, I know he ain't up here with no earned shoes. She had a real accent.
Yeah.
Like she was up here with no earned shoes. And the crowd was just...
They hated you and loved her. Yeah.
And I was there. I was such a kid.
They're like, yeah, he is up there with the orange shoes.
Yeah. I was like, I thought this was cool. I was like, y'all don't... man. Yeah. I was definitely the kid in those bunches.
Yeah, you're the kid at the grown-up table.
Yeah.
When did you decide to move to New York?
So, yeah, like I said, I thought I maxed out what I feel like I could do in the area. I had actually ended up moving with my family in near Elizabeth City, North Carolina, near the coastline or whatever. So I'm actually in like this place called Windfall, North Carolina. It's in Perquimans County. It's only a town because there's a post office.
Oh, wow.
There's actually nothing in this area, just homes or whatever.
Damn.
And yeah, so I'm there and
You're not doing comedy.
No. But I thought I could go down there and like be a party promoter to figure out my next move. And you know when
I love how Nick instilled these skills in you where you're like, I could go to a town that's not even really a town and promote parties.
Well, true. But it's a town over. But yeah, that's a fact. And so I try to go,
I am so good at this.
But I really did, though.
No, I mean, yeah.
According to my technique, I believe that.
Yeah.
And so the town over is Elizabeth City, 18,000 person population.
Okay.
Right.
That's not tiny.
It is.
It's small.
Yeah, it's tiny. But to me, I'm going like, yo, I got some skills. I don't really hear about parties here. I can get it going or whatever. And
I just need 200 people.
Yeah.
Out of 18,000, that's not bad.
And they have a college there too, Elizabeth City State University, right? And small town people don't really move. When I'm like, I worked as a cook and I tried to get a job as a cook. Everybody's like, yeah, well, we have the job. Yeah. And in the small town, if like John doesn't quit.
Yeah, it's John's job.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like John has to quit for it to open up.
There's no turnover.
Yeah. And so I tried to do the party thing and the promoter was like just being real arrogant with me or whatever. So that didn't work out. So I'm there unemployed for like 3 months. And my aunt's like, go to the unemployment office. They hiring at the peanut factory. So I go there and I get a job at the peanut factory, Olam. It's called like Olam Peanuts or something like that.
That's a legit nut factory.
Yeah. Yeah, well, pause. That's why I try to say peanuts. In Edenton, North Carolina.
I forgot about the pause.
I know, he just went straight to it. But anyway, it's in Edenton, North Carolina, right?
Started doing that. Was that Deuces and Miro that started doing that?
No, that was just the hood.
Was it?
Yeah, that was just the hood. That was... Yeah. Anyway.
Sometimes I forget I grew up in Daytona.
Peanuts. So I'm working at this peanut factory. People who, they said they used to make the peanut butter for like Reese's cups. And all
shit.
Stuff. Yeah, all this stuff comes from the country or whatever. So
it's got to come from somewhere, yeah.
And I was there for a few weeks, overnight, minimum wage.
Oh, fuck that. That's a hard job.
Right. And then
overnight at minimum wage. Overnight is one thing, but when you're getting paid the absolute minimum for it. Yeah, I remember when I worked at McDonald's, I worked the open shift, so I had to be there at like 5. But you got like $1 extra for going in at 5. But to do overnight and not even get extra on top of it, oh, that's rough.
And you're not guaranteed 12 hours. You're not guaranteed shifts. So if you're lucky, you'll get 3 days a week.
Because they don't want to pay overtime.
If you're lucky, you'll get the 3 days a week, right? So, yeah, man. But in that small town, the little money I made there, I was living with my mom. It was good money.
Yeah.
For where I was.
Because you're not, yeah. And it's where you are.
Yeah, it was good money. With a $20 bill, you could pretty much get anything you wanted. Didn't really have, so it wasn't really an issue. And then from there, I met my brothers in New York. He was like, hey, man, I can get you a job here, like $50,000 a year or something like that.
And you were like, what?
Yeah, and I packed everything in my car.
Immediately left.
And drove to New York, man. And
what was the job?
How I got here. It was...
was it just like a random job?
It was like a server it was a banquet server at a hotel, the Dream Hotel.
I'm very aware of those kind of jobs. I've worked in restaurants for 20 years.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like I'm a server now, and the place I work is like a super swanky steakhouse, but it took a long road of experience to get there.
Right.
But it's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Like I was just hanging out with a huge comic the other night. They came in for like a birthday dinner, and I mentioned I was a comic, and we were just talking shit for like 20 minutes. Yeah,
nice,
you know what I mean? Like you say, and it's, they're on the other side because they're obviously famous and touring and everything, and I'm just now moving to New York and like trying to get there. But we're all still comics at the end of the day.
Right. At the end of the day, when you speak this language, you speak this language.
They're just like, fuck that guy. And I was like, fuck that guy.
Right.
So when you get to New York, are you, again, because you worked so hard when you were in Carolina and then bouncing around to Atlanta and stuff, are you like full blown into comedy when you get here? Were you like, oh, I'm in New York now, it's time to just do comedy?
I think the first year, no.
Okay.
I worked at...
You were experiencing New York.
So that job that my brother promised me did not work out.
Oh, shit.
Did not work out, no. So, because years later it could have worked, but I didn't understand the system of banquet server where you just have to put in your avails. So, essentially, you do like a couple different banquet servers and you make it work that way. But I was like, wait, I can't work again tomorrow? Like, I don't know what to do. And
oh, so you didn't, okay, that makes sense.
I didn't get that system. And I ended up working on like a dinner cruise yacht, world yacht. When the yachts that go around the city, they do the dinners with it. I ended up working there for a year. So I got to know New York on a boat with Dominicans.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah, with a bunch of Dominicans teaching me how to say suck dick and chupa mi huevo, dentro de tu boca, like just...
Something about head.
Right. Just all these just inappropriate words, right? And that following year, I don't remember what was the thing that... Because I think I didn't know where comedy was.
Yeah.
I was confused with how it
Well,
worked.
New York's a big place, man.
Yeah, I was confused.
I remember when I first got here, same thing. I was like, I know that there's comedy in this city, but when I first moved here, thank God for the internet. Like, I was like, I had no idea where to go for open mics or anything.
Yeah, I don't
And even some of the lists that I found online weren't up to date. Like, I'd show up to a room and it would be condemned. And I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, bad slapper back in the day. Yeah, so I don't remember how I got plugged in. I remember one time on a boat, they had a comedy show. It was a guy named, I think he used to go by Jay the Sing Median. He's a comedian and he sings his jokes. It's hilarious, bro. It's a hilarious show. And I think I talked to him. He's like, yeah, go talk to Smokey Suarez in Harlem. Mm-hmm. And I went up there and did Mocha's. And maybe I kept asking around from there, something like that, and eventually I got.
Well, you just need a couple of you just need to like run into a couple of comics, and they'll be like, "Yeah, check this out, check that," and then boom, you're in.
Yeah.
So when you first moved to New York, because obviously we were talking about it, you were drinking last night, you like to party. When you first moved to New York, were you like partying every night, like doing the New York lifestyle, or were you focused? What were you more focused on?
I was not doing that. I think I was just confused.
What do you mean? Because like going from a party promoter, like a small town, all that stuff, and then getting to the city where you just like, what the fuck?
Yes, okay. I was.
That's
because remember, my town of Durham was like 100,000 person population,
mm-hmm.
and then I moved to the country with 4,000, like 3,000 people in that county or something like that, and then I come here with like 18 million people in the metro area.
Yeah.
I was just confused like those first couple years.
Just trying to get through it.
Yeah.
I'm not even being sarcastic.
Like,
it's a lot.
Going to the bodega and getting used to that, and
I came from
prices.
I came from Jacksonville. That's where I spent my adult life, and there's 1 million people in Jacksonville. And I got here, and still, to your credit, what you're saying, I was like, what the fuck? This is too much.
Yeah.
They don't say the price of the bodega.
Right.
They don't say
it's a different price every time.
Every time you go, they don't say it out loud, so it's always just like I'll go to get Mr. Softies because I'm a fat piece of shit, and I go to get Mr. Softies because I love soft serve. Every time, different price. That never says it, so I'll be like twist cone, hands it to me, and I just have my money out, and I'm like, how much?
Right.
5, 8, 6. Never the same.
Yep.
And that's everything in this city.
No, we had a guy. I remember in one neighborhood I lived in, the bodega guy name was I think Lando, and he would change the prices. And you had to call him out. You'd be like, "Yo, man, the last time I came, the detergent was $2." Okay, $2. He try to whisper it so you can get it to him real quick.
Lando.
Yeah, because he would switch it every time. You're like, "Yo, come on, bro."
They do that with my cigarettes across the street from where I live because they get them from Georgia and Virginia. Mm-hmm. So they're super cheap. They get them obviously by the box and then they just drive them up, which is super illegal, but it's super cheap. So they'll do that to me. When I first started going there, it was 15. Then one time it was 10. Then another time it was 12. So now when I go there, because I have cash, because I'm a server, so I always have like $20 on me in ones. I just give them 11. And they don't say anything. I just hand them 11 and turn around and walk out and they go, thanks. And I'm like, oh, so I'm setting the price now. Now it's my price.
Basically, but also that's the thing about the bodega. It's all about confidence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you go in there with confidence, you usually,
because they just assume someone gave it to you for that before.
Maybe, I don't know.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
for
I'm
instance, like when you go, I remember when I first came here from North Carolina, I would go in the bodega and I would stand in line. Everybody just walking past you. And you
yeah.
And if it doesn't matter who's in line, if we say, yo, my man, bubblegum, and just give him the money, he just says okay.
Yeah.
That's why it's really about confidence.
Well, sometimes there's no line. There's just like a crazy person talking to the guy who works at the bodega. That happened to me the other night where I thought this guy was in line and then another woman was behind him. So I'm like third in line. And then after like 12 seconds, we realized he was just talking, like just ran. He was talking about how the cure for cancer is in the filters and you should pull the filters off and eat them. And that's how you cure cancer. Legitimate. This is what he was talking about. And then the lady in front of me realized like, oh, he's not in line. So she just like went around. But it's like you're saying, it's like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
Because New York is an insane place. I wanted to ask you, because you sent me a bunch of stories and we've been having so much fun. But I did want to ask you about the getting carried out by the other person's boyfriend. Was this in New York or was this in North Carolina?
This was in New York.
Okay. So real quick, before we get into that, because this is your first time on the show, we definitely have to have you back because you sent me a long list and we haven't even touched it yet. When did you start drinking? High school?
Yeah, maybe middle.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't consistent yet.
But you just like tried it when you were younger then. Okay. And then I want to get into some of these, like the cornfield and stealing gas, and then the getting high for the first time. You got to come back on. We got to get into those. But tell me about this boyfriend story, because this has happened to me before, and I find this hilarious.
Yeah, man. So a friend of mine who went to my high school, graduated the same year, whatever. She moved to New York as well, and she was. I don't know what she was doing, but she's one of those women that like always had all the degrees, had like the great internships, like first year out of high school. So yeah, whatever she was doing, it was big time, right? And she said, "Yo, Quan," and she was the one who was connected to like the party scene, the parties that I would like to go to.
Okay,
least. You know, it wasn't just like the random stuff you could pop into, but it's like kind of exclusive a little bit. People dress pretty nicely or whatever. And she invites me to the party, and I'm like, all right, cool, I'll be there. And I'm at the party. And he's like, oh, yeah, Quan, come on, we got a section. Drink whatever you want, whatever. So I'm like, and at this point, I'd actually stopped drinking when I moved to New York because I couldn't afford it.
Yeah, it's super expensive.
Again, with a $20 bill, you could get a whole bottle, whatever you want. But then you move to New York, $20 is one drink, or the bottles at the time were double that or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm just not drinking. I can't afford it no more. And so when she invites me to this party, I don't drink anymore. But to me, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is go time. What? Who can't handle some shots? Like, what's up? Like, I'm drinking, like, thinking I still have
like
the same
you used to
tolerance.
drink. Yeah.
And
you didn't?
Yeah, because the nights of Blurr. Like, I remember, like, seeing the DJ. I remember her saying, drink whatever you want. And then I do remember saying, where's the bathroom? And I went to the bathroom, and the next thing I remember is... Brittany's boyfriend saying, yo, Quan, get up.
This is in the bathroom?
Yeah. And I'm like face on the toilet seat.
Oh.
Like sleep. Like, well, not sleep, but just like,
oh, yeah.
And he's like, yo, Quan, you can't lay on the toilet seat. Get your head up. And I'm like, nah, why not? He's like, bro, you cannot. And I was so drunk.
And this isn't even your friend. This is her boyfriend.
This is her boyfriend who that
doesn't know
was
you.
Was that the first time I met him? Maybe. I don't know. That may have possibly been the first time I met him. Yeah. And I'm so drunk that I don't understand why I can't lay on the toilet.
Yeah.
And
you just don't get it. You're like, it's here, I'm here, why can't I put my head on it?
I couldn't walk.
Oh no.
So he carries me. He carries me to the car.
And you're a grown man being carried by another grown man.
So I didn't really ask her to go to any parties for like 2 or 3 years.
Do you still talk to her?
Yeah. From time to time. Yeah. But she's like moved to like Chicago now.
Okay.
Or whatever.
Big time in it?
Yeah. I mean, she's always doing great things. But
damn.
Yeah, that was embarrassing, man.
What happened when he put you in the car?
I don't know.
Yo, you just blacked out?
Yeah, I just remember them dropping me off at home.
God.
Yeah, I don't really remember anything after that. But I was just, obviously that was super embarrassing. Like,
yeah. I mean, I've done that a million
to
times.
come out and you have to get carried out by somebody's boyfriend. It's just like, I don't know what their conversation was. You know, that's
the bit.
Yeah. You know, you don't want to be the person who can't handle their liquor, but
he just looks at her and she's like, he likes to party.
Right. So, he got a good heart. Like,
yeah.
You got to tell him.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. You just have to get to know him. He's like, yo, you can't be inviting these type of people, man. Like, he may have been the promoter of the event. Come to think of it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, come to think of it. Yeah.
She was like, I have a friend. He used to be a promoter. You guys will hit it off.
Yeah.
You're going to love him.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, right. Yeah.
Damn, man, this was fun.
Yeah.
We're already at the hour.
Yeah.
Plug everything one more time. Let them know where they can find you, social media, everything.
At Quan Wiggins on Instagram, Facebook, Joke Telling Quan on TikTok, and you can catch me performing at Comedy in Harlem. This has been fun.
This was a blast, man.
Yeah.
You got to come back on because we have a bunch of stories we didn't even really get to touch because we got so wrapped up into comedy.
Yeah.
Which I do all the time. At Brennan T Comedy on all social media, BrennanTComedy.com. Check out the one-man show, Ex Drinking Buddy, on Patreon.com/BrennanTassif. I'll be at Jester Castle in Philly, October 6th and 7th. I will be at Broadway Comedy Club October 14th, and we will talk to you all next week.
Boom.
That was fun, dude.
Yeah, man.